Okay, so this is day 5. So the question is, given that sine 30 equals halves, find these values. So for example, cosine 30, tan 30. So how we would do that is, so we take this sine 30 would mean this is the opposite hypotenuse. So we can make a triangle and put 30 here because that's one of the degrees. We could put 60 and then 90 here. And then we could do, since we know that the opposite of 30 is 1, we put 1 here, and then the hypotenuse of this triangle is 2, we put 2 here. So we would have these angles. To find this missing angle, this missing side, so we have 2 and 1 here as the sides, and to find this missing side, we would do the Pythagorean theorem. So I did a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so I have 1 squared plus b squared equals 2 squared. So this squared plus this squared equals a hypotenuse squared, so I have 1 plus b squared equals 4. And then to find b, I would do b squared equals 4 minus 1, which is 3, and then I would square root the b squared to get b by itself, and I would get b equals root 3. So that would mean that that this side length is square root 3. I could have also done the 30, 60, and 90 rule. So the opposite of this is x. The opposite of 60 is 2x, x root 3, and then the opposite of 90 is 2x. But I still get the same thing. So we know that these are the sides of the triangle. So now we have cosine 30. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So we go to 30, we do the adjacent, which is root 3. We do the hypotenuse, which is 2. And we get root 3 over 2 as cosine 30. Next is tangent 30. So tan is opposite and adjacent. So we go to 30, we do the opposite, which is 1. We do the adjacent, which is root 3. So we get tan 30 equals 1 over root 3. Next is cosecant. We know that that's hypotenuse over opposite. So we go to 30, we do the hypotenuse, we do the opposite, and so we get 2 over 1, which is 2. So that would be cosecant 30. Now we have secant 30, which is hypotenuse over adjacent. So we go to 30, we do the hypotenuse, which is 2, and we get the adjacent, which is root 3. So get 2 over root 3, and that would be secant 30. And then we have cotangent 30. We know that's adjacent opposite. So we go to 30, we do the adjacent, which is root 3, and then we do the opposite, which is 1. So we get root 3 as cotangent 30. Now we have converted 30 degrees to radians. So to do degrees to radians, we would multiply the degrees by pi over 180. So we do 30 times pi over 180, we get 30 pi over 180, which simplifies to pi over 6. So that then 30 degrees to radians would be pi over 6 radians. Now, next question, determine and graph coterminal angles of 30. So how first we can graph the 30 degrees, which is here. So we know this is 0, this is 90, and so this is 45, and a little bit below that would be 30. So we have the 30 degrees there. To find the coterminal, what we do is we add 360 and minus 360 to 30. So we have 390 and then negative 330. And so when we graph that, we would go 360 plus 30, so that would be 390. So the end result of 390 would be here. It would be at 0. And then because we're going from here, we added 360. So when we add 360, this would be 390. And then we subtract 360 from 30, which is negative 330. And so those two would be in degrees the coterminal angles. And then what we do is we take these 2 degrees and then find it into radians. So we do 390 times pi over 180. We do the same thing, negative 330 times pi over 180. And this these both simplify to 13 pi over 6 and a negative 11 pi over 6. From there, what we do is that we add and subtract 360 respectively to like, so since this was 13 pi over 6, which is 390, and we got that by adding 360, we would take 13 pi over 6 and then add it to 2 pi over 1, because that's what's equal to 360 in radians. So we add this, we define the common denominator, and we simplify. So we got 25 pi over 6, which is radians. So that would be the coterminal angle here. And then we do negative 11 pi over 6 minus 2 pi over 1. And then again, that's because this is 360 degrees in radians. So we subtract it, we find the common denominator, and then we simplify. So negative 23 pi over 6. So this would be our other radians. So these are our 4 answers. And then find 2 other angles that have reference angles of 30. So reference angle, how we do that is we go, so this was from here, we got 30 here, because from here to here is 30, and then we go to this other, this x-axis, and then we go 30 here, one direction, the other 30 this direction. When we go to 30, we get 150 degrees. That's our angle right there. So that would be one of the reference angles, 150, and we go the opposite direction, and this would be at 210. So that would be the other reference angle, 210. And yeah.